So Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2.
Probably the weakest.
Yeah, it's pretty weak, especially in.
I know there's some other ones you said that.
Yeah.
You might argue. To me, it's the weakest. And I know there's some controversy. Do you go? There's Iron Man 3. There's the original Thor. I've heard people that really not a huge fan of the original Captain America.
See, I
disagree with all. To me, Iron Man 2, and while it's not a bad movie, and I'm entertained when I watch it,
it's not horrible, but in the scope of Marvel, it's not great. It's not that good.
Yeah, it honestly, and we've talked about this before. It almost kind of felt like a cash grab by Marvel.
Yeah, it felt like they were starting, like they decided instead of doing a whole nother, because they were making Thor and they're making Captain America, but they also, instead of just leaving Iron Man as is, they just decided, let's just try and make a little bit more money off of Iron Man, because Iron Man, the first one, had made so much money.
To me, the only thing that's really introduced in this movie that is important moving forward is the introduction of Romanoff, which is Scarlett Johansson's character.
You see Nick Fury, not in action per se, but he's introduced as a character. But it was kind of nice seeing War Machine portrayed. Well, yes. Speaking of, how did you feel about Don Cheadle? We've talked about it.
I wished it was Terrence Howard.
I personally think that
too. And I think we talked about this one in the Iron Man review.
I think I would have liked Terrence Howard, personally.
That being said, I do kind of like how they handled it. The courtroom scene is my favorite scene in this entire movie.
And how cocky Tony Stark is, or just...
All of the above. They handle a lot with that scene.
Well, I like... Because what is it that he says... First of all, it's a surprise that Rhodey comes in. Mm-hmm. That was like the surprise witness or whatever. Yeah. And then he says, like, it's me, let's move on, let's get over it. He says something like that. And it's supposed to be a line that's towards the audience. It's supposed to be like, it's not Terrence Howard, it's me, Don Cheadle, get over it.
And again,
Don Cheadle's fine. I don't
want to say fine. Don Cheadle's a good actor.
No, he's a really good actor, but in this movie I think he's
fine.
He does a serviceable job, but I liked, and it might just be because in the first one they actually, there's a friendship that you are introduced to. Yeah. So I'm accustomed to like, oh, it's Terrence Howard. Yeah. I think I was just a little more personally attached to
I agree.
Terrence Howard.
I agree.
But that being said, we were talking about it is the really important things of this movie that you could argue is the introduction of Romanoff, Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson, and I mean she's good.
She's good.
She's fine.
And I liked how they introduced the character as his assistant that was kind of undercover, and it's like she's a spy who's pretty good at it. She's a badass. Like
she is that scene with Jon Favreau. I gotta laugh at that.
Yeah.
Where Jon Favreau's taking out the one guy.
Well, like I said, this movie, there are definitely some entertaining parts.
But see, that's where it's an entertaining movie, and by no means is it like an awful movie, but like you said, in the scheme of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's not that good.
No.
I think Jon Favreau's
in the scheme of action movies, though, I'd rank it. It's middle of the road.
I suppose, but there's a lot of shit when it comes to action movies. Let's be honest. So yes, this I could put middle of the road, but I think the first Iron Man, there were some certain action sequences that I liked and enjoyed, but the movie wasn't just like totally just it wasn't constant action. And in this, because the storyline for me was a little weaker, I did focus a little bit more on these action sequences. I didn't think they were that great. I thought the only one that was good and I was really super entertained by was probably the end action scene where they're fighting the drones, and especially when Whiplash comes down and is like fighting them.
Well,
that was the only time I liked.
Iron Man action scene that I was like, okay, that was really good. But Romanoff's action scene when they go into the tower and she's taking out the guards.
She's Yeah, she's pretty brutal, and that's what we were talking about. It's funny how Jon Favreau's like, I got him, and then he looks down the hallway, and there's like 90 guys.
But she's got the guy hung up, like
I don't know how she did it,
dirty,
but it was dirty.
Yeah.
So I think overall, there's a lot of things that the problems that I had were more of like, I was watching things happen, and I would be like, what? Like for instance, one of the major plot points has to deal with Tony Stark. The adamantium? No, that's Avatar. That's Avatar. Sorry. What is the element that's in his body that is simultaneously killing him?
Yeah,
but keeping him alive.
Yeah. It's keeping the fragments out of his heart.
That's basically
it's powering the electromagnet.
It's the energy. It's the energy source in his. And while that is pretty compelling,
it's not plutonium. Is it plutonium?
No, plutonium that powers the DeLorean.
No, I know that powers the DeLorean.
It's okay.
Yeah, it's the power source.
It's the power. So over the course of the movie, he is dying because
it's
poisoning him. And what ends up and it's also, it kind of is another reason it's not the most enjoyable movie to watch, is because he's dying. Yeah. And it's probably strangely
that's what's driving the movie forward, and it was never brought up in the original, which was like...
Yeah, in the original it was like, I mean, he's having problems, but he's not dying from it.
Yeah, and that's the only thing driving this movie forward.
And in this, he is rapidly dying.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like every single time he's testing his blood for poison, it's skyrocketing
and
up.
It's quick, he's going. Yeah. He's going quick.
And the reason I said this movie's not so enjoyable is because it's pretty depressing, and it's because he's like... It's showing, I guess, what a billionaire with a ton of money that is slowly dying, what he would be doing. And he's just being self-destructive. Yeah. He's breaking up relationships with, like, Pepper's not really liking him. Rhodey's definitely not liking him. He's just partying, basically. Yeah. And it's just hard to watch, which is, it's not quite what I wanted to see in an Iron Man movie. I mean, it adds some depth to it, but it's also... It's not an enjoyable watch.
I didn't like how he finds the cure or the.
That's what I was going to get back to. So for the whole time he's like dying, and he then comes across.
No, this is when we're introduced to Samuel Jackson.
Yes. So he technically comes across, but
not introduced. I guess he's in the after credits scene
of the first one, and God. When he arrived on screen, what a breath of fresh air, dude. Samuel, I can watch him all day, and he never phones it in.
No.
It doesn't matter if he's in...
Of course, he's playing himself.
I feel like basically, he's like, just give me an eye patch, and I'll be myself.
Yeah.
That's all I have to do. And he crushes it. He always does. So, when he got on...
your butts.
Sounds good, dude.
But anyway,
no, we don't have to talk about Jurassic Park, but we could, but we don't have to. But he gives Tony a bunch of like Howard Stark's, his father's like old plans and like because he had a blueprint for this whole kind of, it almost seemed like a functioning world of tomorrow that Disney would wanted to have created.
It was very similar to Disney's original idea behind Epcot.
Okay, so it seemed to be that kind of thing. And Tony...
And it was also very similar. It was like that mixed with the World's Fair.
Yeah. Which is... That's fine. But the reason it's kind of... It agitated me was that Tony then figures out through looking at the blueprint of this World's Fair or Epcot type place that he could create a brand new element that would power himself and stop killing him.
Yeah.
And it's just a huge coincidence, and it's to a point where I guess...
Well, it's not really coincident. I mean, it kind of is, but the fact that Samuel Jackson knows that's what Howard was working on.
But he didn't know that... See, that was... He gave it to Tony, and almost insinuating, the answer to your problem
I took
is
it
in
as
here.
S.H.I.E.L.D. took it, because they knew what Howard was working on a new energy source.
Which, that goes back to our major problem I have with the first Iron Man. How did Jeff Bridges' character not understand that this energy source was the future, not just weapons?
Yeah.
You can make so much more money making energy than you can with weapons.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
And, well, that goes into the villain in this one, which is Whiplash.
Oh. Well, okay.
But, I mean, to go back to what we were talking about with the energy source. The energy source it was something Howard was working on. It was like S.H.I.E.L.D. took it away once they found out, or Samuel Jackson, once they find out that it's killing him, it's like, obviously Tony needs a new power source in his chest. We know Howard's was working on this. We confiscated this from him when he died.
Yeah, but
now let's give it back to Tony so he can figure it out. But I'm assuming they've watched all the videos, so they know that he left a video for Tony that I guess he would have had they not confiscated it. But again, it's a lot of coincidence.
It's like how
and why
not just give plans to, like, this is what I was working, like, Howard almost made it a roundabout way of like
a riddle.
Yeah, it was like, why? Yeah. There's no reason that should even be a riddle. Just have plans of, like, I'm working on this element.
Especially since his breakup with the villain's father, who was working with him at the time, was public. Yeah. Like, very public.
Yeah. That's another...
And I like Whiplash's motivation in this movie. It was revenge.
Yeah.
It was like, Howard kind of...
It was totally justified.
It was it was a partnership that went bad. And
but
Howard
the reason the partnership went bad was dumb.
It was very dumb.
Okay, so Howard Stark...
It was Twister dumb.
Yeah, it was kind of like Twister. That they're mad at this guy that's doing the science, but not for the fun of it. He's doing it because he wants to make money.
And Howard Stark's
getting mad at this guy
who wants to make money. And the Starks are like billionaires. They are kings of making money.
They are so... And I just thought it was dumb. So he straight up just deported this guy because he was like, I kind of want to make money off of this. So then... That's the reason Whiplash, his father dies. Mickey Rourke plays Whiplash, by the way. And Mickey Rourke, his presence as a villain in this movie, I thought he was good. I thought he was pretty good. He seemed menacing.
The Russian accent I
was not on board. I would have much rather him have like an Americanized accent that was like had a hint of Russian. Yeah. But he tried to literally sound like someone straight from Russia.
Yeah.
And it just I did not believe it. I liked, his presence as a villain.
You don't like the accent, but you like Mickey Rourke.
I don't, not the character. Yeah. I like Mickey Rourke as an actor, and I thought he was, there were parts in this movie he was good. And then there were parts I was just like, no. And this is not a knock on, he's not... It's because Whiplash, I'm assuming, I don't read the comics, but is he supposed to be really big? Like, because Mickey Rourke he's older. He's like, if he's not, Mickey Rourke's had such a rough life, he might be 27.
No.
But, no, for real.
I believe now, when the movie was made, he was probably in his late 50s, I would have guessed.
Okay.
Late 50s? Because he was what? He was a young, up-and-coming actor in the 80s.
In the early 80s.
Yeah.
Or I guess late 70s, early 80s. But he just looks so rough that I'm like, this is like
Well, if you think about it, if you'd have seen Mickey Rourke at 85 and then saw him 7 years later, you would have thought he aged 25 years.
Yeah, I know. But...
Like, watched him in The Diner and then watched him in, like... Even, like, a couple of years later... What was the name of that? Was it... What was it? He made a movie... He made a lot of shitty movies in that time period, but...
He made... There was one movie he did... where he was the villain, and this was like in the mid-90s.
I just remember watching, it was right after the time I watched the movie The Diner for the first time, which is a solid movie.
Diner's good, yeah. Very
but anyway, I watched that, and I remember seeing something, and I was like, wait.
How much is this?
And I was like, this is only 92. There's like 7 years, because The Diner's like, what, 84, 85?
He aged not well, and there were some factors into why he didn't age.
Yeah. But a phenomenal actor, very talented.
He's a very talented actor, but he didn't... Like, is Whiplash, like, he just seemed old, and it felt weird to see this older guy.
He almost seems as old as his dad that was dying.
Yeah, I was like, are they brothers? I thought they were brothers the first time I saw it. So, anyway, like the way he can look at, like, he's very menacing. But that, I mean, I feel like someone could have done it better. Personally, I thought someone could have done it better.
But, again, who? There's not many Russian actors. What's his name?
Mickey Rourke's not Russian.
No, I know. But I'm saying, who else was going to portray the Russian actor?
I don't know.
I guess you could have gone like the English actor and just had him had an English, like a European accent.
I don't know. And you know what?
Could you gone, what's his name? The guy from Casino Royale. The guy with the...
Yeah, but I don't know how old he would have been at the time. I guess it would have been the same, Mads Mikkelsen. But Mads Mikkelsen's not Russian. He's Dutch.
Yeah, but Americans don't know that.
That's true. Americans be like, oh yeah, this is Russian. This is, yeah. So, I think though...
And I could see the movie producers being like, what's her name in Glorious Bastards? Like, no, this could work.
This will definitely work.
Germans don't have a good ear for Italian. Anyway.
I think though, Mickey Rourke's, his whole plan was basically, this was another problem I had with this movie.
Iron Man? Like,
no, not even his. I meant his plan with Justin Hammer, who I love Sam Rockwell. He was okay in this movie for me. Like,
I don't like Justin Hammer's
as a character,
his character at all. And my biggest deal was, okay, he's the second biggest weapons manufacturer
behind Stark, and I guess now he's one.
And I was okay with at the beginning where it was like, because nobody had technology for the Iron Man suit. No one.
But he was actively trying.
He was actively trying, and it was just like, that was... I'm sorry, we got cars just bumping outside.
It's okay. I didn't know. I thought you were just freezing on.
No. I was like waiting.
Had an existential crisis about Justin Hammer. No, okay. So your point is, they show him at the beginning struggling with these Iron Man, like replicas.
But at no point
did he see
hearing that, like, well, obviously it's like he's one of the best weapon manufacturers in the world. He's not bad at producing all weapons. But then at the end happening, like, the rocket doesn't blow up, and it's like...
Oh, so he was just shitty at his job.
Yeah, and it was like, why are we paying him? And I guess it was... I mean, again, it's government. You know, the lowest bidder.
I guess.
And it's still... I mean, you would expect he's still doing it.
But he seems, in this
completely incompetent.
Yeah,
exactly. Completely incompetent. And not to the point where he shouldn't have even had a government contract. He shouldn't even been allowed to walk around outside.
No, like, he didn't... It almost felt like he inherited this company and had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
But he
built the company. It was his company.
It was his company.
At least that's the way.
Mickey Rourke, he notices Mickey Rourke when Mickey Rourke first shows up to confront Iron Man. He had built this suit by himself. That was his, like, a prototype, almost Whiplash suit.
Yeah.
And he almost defeats Iron Man. And the point behind it is to show that, like, there is something that can compete with Iron Man. Because Iron Man was technically keeping the world safe by himself. Whiplash was purposely sending a message.
Yeah.
So Justin Hammer gets Whiplash out of jail, and he's like, you're going to build me... He goes, you knew the technology to build your suit and what to do as far as compete and go against Iron Man. I'm going to need you to build me a suit.
Yeah.
And basically, Mickey Rourke does what...
Yeah, Tony Stark's it.
He does what Tony Stark did in the first one.
Yeah.
Which in the first movie, I liked it. In this one, it just felt like lazy writing. It felt like, how are we going to basically get Whiplash to make this suit for Justin Hammer? Oh, let's just do what we did in the first one.
Yeah.
It felt like they didn't. And that kind of goes back to your point of you think it's a cash grab.
Yeah.
It felt like they just rushed this thing
and it was
into
almost
production.
It almost felt too like, okay, we're getting ready to release a lot of these. We made so much money off of the original Iron Man and the Hulk. We're going to essentially, we're going to make these other movies, but we're going to start pumping them out. And it was like, let's remind people that Iron Man's still there.
Yeah. It had only been literally 2 years.
Yeah, but
people
that's how
remember Iron Man.
But again, that's my point. Is that's how it felt. It felt like
I guess. Man.
It felt like I don't know. Yeah, it felt lazy. It felt like a cash grab. Again, not bad. When it comes on TV, I watch it.
Oh, see, I don't, man. It would.
Well, I mean, I don't. If there's something else on, I'm gonna watch it. But I'm saying, like, it's like a Saturday, Sunday afternoon. If there's nothing else on.
That's fair.
But
the whole time I watch it, I'm still like, this movie. I just sit there and think like the first one's just so much better. I almost look at it. I angrily watch it. I sit there and watch it. I'm like, you could have made like. You have still all the pieces from the first one.
See, in this one, I felt, and this is the reason I say this is the weakest Marvel movie. There are multiple flaws in this one where some of the other ones, there's less. Like, you talk about not liking Thor. We will be reviewing.
No, it's,
Thor, the Thor review will be coming soon.
Actually, the more I think about it, Thor I like more.
There's one aspect of Thor that's bad. In my opinion,
and we'll get to it, but I think this one's a little more frustrating than it is bad for me. There's certain movies I'm like, oh, that's kind of bad. This was frustrating because I felt like they had an opportunity to make something pretty good, and they just felt lazy. That's how I would put it. It felt like it was almost like a 2-hour vehicle to introduce Nick Fury, Romanoff, and show War Machine, and to show that Tony's no longer dying, which was
never
a problem that started at the beginning of this movie, but I guess was
again that's the only thing.
But it was showing that Tony had perfected this energy source.
No, to me it was the only thing moving the plot forward. They needed something moving the plot forward, and if he didn't have the timeline of death, there's nothing to move this.
But
plot
that was just a little added thing. Was that like he had made his own new element, so now he's like even more. His machines will be better
powered.
Whatever the which Whiplash would have made, or whoever would have made.
Was again, my issue with it was never an issue to begin. Like, they created the issue in this movie.
Yeah, they did.
If it was even brought up in the first one, like, this isn't the answer.
It was just weird. It was just weird.
I don't know. I didn't like that aspect of it.
And I think the more I think about it, it was just a way to introduce.
Yeah, like you said, it was a vehicle to introduce
Nick Fury and Romanoff, and kind of showing how Tony, what he thought about the whole Avengers thing, the whole joining up with a team, because Tony Stark, that's not his deal. That's not. He's kind of all about doing his own thing. Only until Nick Fury tells him, like, no, you're not going to join. He almost becomes jealous. He's like, oh, wait a second, I'm not good enough. So I don't,
all that being said, for the most part, the acting in this movie is pretty good.
The acting's fine. I could have Sam Rockwell. It's what it is.
It's not that Sam Rockwell was bad; it's his character was poorly written.
Yeah, but that's.
It's not on Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
And he wasn't comedic. He's written some pretty comedic. This is a dumb guy. Like, he plays that character pretty well.
No, he does. He plays that. It's just frustrating. Like, you're right. It is just poorly written.
Yeah.
And which is hilarious.
Even though I think it's funny that him and his wife are.
Yes, Leslie Bibb, his wife. And I almost wonder if Leslie Bibb, for such a small part in the first one, she plays the reporter that Tony Stark just has relations with.
Yeah.
Even though she was in the first one for so little, I wonder if she did have some pull of like, hey, my husband is Sam Rockwell. You should get him to be Justin Hammer. And I love Sam Rockwell. And it might just be because his character in this movie was such an idiot that I was like, no, man. Like, I think that was it. I was more again, I'm more frustrated than I was like, this was bad. It was like, things were happening in this movie.
But there were some other things like just plot points. I like the fact that Pepper he never let anybody know he was dying, and then Pepper finds out he was dying.
that was a funny.
Wait, you're dying?
He was like, I tried telling because that was when he went to he was talking about the strawberry.
And he brought her strawberries.
And she was like, I'm allergic to one thing in this world, and he's like, it's strawberries. See, I remember there was. I thought you really liked them, but I knew strawberries were important. So, there are moments where Tony Stark.
Well,
Robert Downey is so good as Tony Stark. There are moments where
that's him playing that character is extremely watchable to begin with, so you're entertained.
Yeah, but the movie's not good. Like the only times in this movie that I was like super on board where there would be moments where Tony Stark
and the fight scene at the end.
But it's more of when Robert Downey is playing Tony Stark, just really in his element, that you're like you do kind of smile and laugh because you're like he's so good at it. And when Samuel L. Jackson comes into play, I'm just like fuck yeah, I love Sam. Him as Nick Fury is just awesome.
Yeah.
But those, I'm telling you, like those are the only two parts that redeeming parts for me. Truly redeeming part. The rest of it was more like it's okay.
Yeah.
Like at best for me it was like it's okay.
Yeah.
That
being said, it's C plus for me.
I'd give it a C.
I'm going
at best.
I'm
honestly.
going. Well, no, I'm going. Though I mean, the way we're doing this is just movies in general. This is a C plus movie.
This is a C to me.
All right.
And that's all I'm gonna say. Like, and that's C at best.
Oh no. Think about all the shitty movies. This is a C plus.
This is a C.
Okay.
And we're gonna agree to disagree, but I'm telling you right now, it's a C. I can't give it that plus. I can't give it because then we're talking. That's Hope Scholarship, baby. That's 3.0. You're teetering on.
No, the 3.0 is a B.
Yeah.
Or B minus.
Yeah, C plus. C plus is getting close. That's teetering on.
That's.
So you're saying
didn't get it.
So you're saying it's a C.
No, I mean you still didn't get it.
No. Besides the point, I give this a C. I give this a C. It's clearly in the bottom tier of these Marvel movies.
Oh, it's easily in the bottom tier. There's this. See, to me, I don't even put the first Thor at the bottom tier. It's this, the second Thor, which at least there are plot points in that. Anyway, we're gonna rank them later, but this is definitely in the bottom tier.
This is, if not the bottom. Personally.
Oh, yes, this is.
And now, obviously, this is why we're going back through all of them, so that I can totally remember like which ones were truly good or which ones were truly bad. But this one was pretty bad.
Yeah, but again, like most Marvel movies, there's the after credit scene, and you go, "Let's fucking go for the next."
Thor's
one.
hammer.
Yeah.
Thor's hammer gets you going.